Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salalo Makwidi. The time is 17 minutes past 9 Central African time. And we're going to be switching gears now to a really concerning story coming out of the KZN region. We're going to be looking at how the Zanzibari community, in essence, out in the KZN, how many of them are battling, I think, memory, dignity, and identity in the region, especially in the Bluff area. Members of the Zanzibari community say their heritage is under threat after the recent removal of tombstones and grave markers from the historic cemetery at King's Rest. The family graves of people forcefully removed under apartheid and whose rightful claim to the land was restored in 2004 are now effectively erased by claim. And the trust that oversees the cemetery rejects the accusations, saying maintenance and safety motivated the removals of some of the graves. And to help us understand what's at stake here and why there's more than just a property dispute, we speak to community elder of the Zanzibari community, Mr. Wally Anwarudeen. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Wally. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you
I think
for inviting us.
the pleasure's
Yes.
all ours. I think we can jump right into it. If you can just give us some background and context of what's really happening at King's Rest Cemetery, and why are some of the graves being removed?
You see, Juma Masjid and us, we go back 150 years, and there wasn't ever a pleasant time or moment where we shared commonality, we shared religion, we shared customs, we shared the grave. The graves that they are jumping about and saying belongs to them, none of their relatives 150 years on are buried there. This is just a monetary thing, just to benefit from donations and funds that come from overseas to perpetuate the superiority over us. Now, they claim over us is because of the Waqf concept, as you know. Once you slap Waqf on any property, you the beneficiary, we are the Waqifins. The Waqif wasn't even a South African. He was a person from India, came with those business people in 1860, right? When they came, they created the Mohammedan Church Trust in 1899, whilst we were on the land since 1873, when Queen Victoria had granted us that portion of land. Unfortunately, the owner at that time was Benningfield, and he was a slave trader. So you being a slave trader means that any business that comes your way, you're going to sell or you're going to buy. So unfortunately, that's how we find ourselves in this predicament. So when 1899, when they came in, they took over the land because they were not allowed property rights in South Africa because they came as free pass Indians. They didn't come as indentured laborers. They came as business people. And they made so much money, they wanted real estate. Now, real estate is not estate. We're talking real estate. Includes land, animal, biodiversity, buildings, you have it. And then to protect it from taxes and from us, no negotiations. There was no telling us, hey guys, this is our intention. We want to make Waqf of this thing, and you guys can be the Waqifins. Now, a Waqifin has usufruct rights. Those rights have been denied. Now, this one, in any religion, any culture, any custom, you will find the desecration of graves is unacceptable. You messing around with people, Allah doesn't allow that. If you're going to recycle the grave, no problem, we don't have an issue. But don't remove tombstones and throw them away. And where they dumped it in our land, sub 15, the one that they still in pain for. We beat them on sub 15. And when they came for sub 15, they say, no, how can we go to Juma Masjid, the congregation, and tell them that we're only going to get 500,000 rand. So you all need to give us another 500,000 rand. And the money that we are asking, look at the cheek, doesn't come from your pocket. It's government money. And then we ask the question, when people were being taken out from here, did you come and discuss with them? Did you consult with them in 1960, 1961? You didn't do that. Now you're feeling sorry for your congregation. Huh? These guys didn't have an election since 1987. You know why? Because the trust is based on ethnic lines. You come from northern part of India, so they don't want to disturb that. South Africa is now a big city where elections under Islamic law have to be done with the congregation that is there. So now the fear is, hey, we're going to elect here openly. What if the members that we have in our trust, which was Mohammedan Church Trust, and then they switched to Juma Masjid in 1917. What is the reason there? 1910, Union. 1913, Land Act. 1917, then they changed to Juma Masjid Trust. Now, anywhere in the world, did you, even if you Google it, will you find Mohammedan Church Trust? The reason being to create Mohammedan Church Trust was the Roman Catholic Church, freed soldiers were allowed to own land. And that's how they crafted in 1899 the Mohammedan Church Trust. So if it was a genuine, legitimate thing, why must you change? Leave it at Mohammedan Church Trust. And then we are not beneficiaries. Right? They just cause restriction. We went to Chatsworth, they followed us there. They also are owners of the masjid that is there. So we have no rights. Not one trustee or a group of them came to say, guys, come together, let's have ziyarah, let's have iftar, let's have khatam al-Quran, let's have Mawlud al-Nabi. Not once. But yet, these are the same guys, they go next door to the cathedral and invite those people for Halim and Naan and everything for Ramadan. Huh? Now, you think about that.
I want to jump in here because you guys have went through the legal route and taken some legal action. What is your end goal here? Is it restoration of the grave markers or guaranteed access of the cemetery or something broader?
No. It's not restoration of the grave markers. We don't worry about that. The argument is the disrespect and the manner in which they treat us. That is unacceptable. This claim, the cemetery and the masjid, is ours. We were there before them. 26 years, 1873 to 1899. 26 years. And what they do, even the gazetting in 1994, when the masjid and cemetery was gazetted to be awarded to us, it is in a memorandum of agreement. They didn't respect a legal piece of legislation that is saying this, once it is registered in the gazette, nobody is allowed to interfere or change or alter that piece of land. It's a building, whether it's occupied or vacant, the cemetery, masjid, you're not allowed to do that. They even violated law. This is not about desecration, but that's now telling you one Muslim discriminating against another one, to the point where you willfully are just removing stones. So now if family members go to the graveyard, how do they identify their loved ones? And the evidence is there. Unlike they didn't do it, it's done. And all the stuff that they threw it on sub 15. Sub 15 is a land that they lost to us, and they're still feeling the pain. huh?
Mm, mm,
Human
mm,
Rights Commission. We also spoke to the Human Rights Commission, and we asked them, check if these guys had any meeting with our forebears, that they can know that there was no such meeting. We wrote to them to say, guys, stop this. And they replied, hey, there was no MOU, and therefore, through Wakefield's, the agents, they said that, uh-uh, just leave us alone, and we got no further communication with you guys. Get lost. That's basically what they said. And this we're talking in January when we wrote to them. In February, end of Feb, they replied with that nasty letter. And then soon after that, they started desecrating the graves.
mm,
Now, if we
mm,
were violent, you tell me what was going to happen now to Juma Masjid and the people that they employed there to remove those stones. Because we Muslims, we got Iman, we got Sabr, we said, no, let's go through the legal route, let's go through media, let the whole world know. They have loved ones in their cemeteries. What if we get into buses and go and desecrate those cemeteries and those graves? Are they going to feel nice? They won't. This
mm,
is not about restoration. This is about leaving us alone. 150 years, there's no benefit that we saw in our lifetime.
mm, mm.
Which grave do we go to? And then now they impose also an amount, 2,200 and some change we have to pay for a grave. And then also pay for the digging of the grave also, another amount. Now, do we sit quietly and say, no, mashallah, what they're doing is very nice. They must continue. And unfortunately, how they operate, you won't believe it. They use members of the community to work against the community. In 1952, you won't believe it. Look at the link. Right now, they got those guys that are working for them, community members, Indian Muslim. 1952, Indian Muslim also, they said, guy, you want to be employed? Here's the deal. You are not going to allow young men and women at King's Rest to get married. Astaghfirullah. You're not going to
Mm,
allow what? Young men and women at King's Rest to get married because they are going to overpopulate the land. Number one. Number two, you're not going to allow for any additions that are going to be constructed on new houses or new structures or new outbuildings that are going to be constructed there on the land. Now, these are the conditions in which they re-employing the person who was employed before there, an elderly Muslim man, married in the community. And then the third one, please, what you need to do, you need to get people in the community who are going to help you monitor and watch all of these things that we are giving you these instructions on. And if you fail to carry out these, definitely the job cannot be yours.
mm, mm. Mr.
Right?
Wally Anwarudeen, unfortunately, we have to wrap
Now,
up. This is a story that we're going to be following quite closely. We have run out of time, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get you back on air, to give us a bit more insight on it. We tried to get the Juma Masjid Trust for a comment. They said, if you have any questions, and I quote this from a representative, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me via WhatsApp or email. I will gladly respond to the best of my knowledge regarding this matter. However, I'll prefer to refrain from any live interviews. So we tried to get the Juma Masjid Trust on, but they refused. But I can guarantee you we'll continue
they won't
following the
come
story.
on.
But we're going to the video for now.
They won't come on.
Mm.
They won't
Going
come
to
on.
thank you so much, Mr. Anwar. Thank you so much for giving us the time. I'm sure we'll chat soon. Jazakallah so much.